We couldn't have today's webinar without the great support from two of our more distinguished IFMA members, Hershey Foodservice and Nestle Professional. Thank you, Hershey, and thank you, Nestle. To introduce today's three panelists, I wanted to bring in the president of Nestle Professional North America, Perry Miele. Perry is also the 2020 chairman of the board for IFMA. Welcome, Perry.
Thank you, Charlie. On behalf of Nestle Professional, I would like to introduce our three panelists for today's live conversation with members of the IFMA CNU Food Service Council. First is Jill Horst. Jill is the Executive Director of Dining at UC Santa Barbara. Jill is also the chair of the 2021 IFMA CNU Food Service Council. Second is Ken Toong, and he is the Executive Director of the Auxiliary Services at UMass Amherst. Additionally, Ken is a recipient of the 2013 IFMA Silver Plate and is the first Vice Chair of the IFMA CNU Food Service Council. Third, that will be with us today is Van Sullivan. Van is the Executive Director of Facility Student Association of Stony Brook University. Van is also the second Vice Chair of the IFMA CNU Food Service Council. And on behalf of myself, Nestle Professional, as well as our other host of Hershey Food Service, welcome to all three of you, and thank you for being part of today's great panel. Thank you very much. Over to you, Charlie.
Thank you, Perry, and thank you to three of you for joining us today. Just to give you a sense of the Food Service Council and how it works, Jill, Ken, and Van are three members of a 26-person CNU Food Service Council. The members of that council are visible to you now. You're on your screen. And this group gets together on a regular basis and has key topics and goals, objectives for 2021 that we're going to be sharing with you a little bit later. In terms of today, what are we going to cover? Really simple, straightforward agenda. What's it like right now for students dining at colleges and universities across the country? We're going to spend a little bit of time on that. The bulk of what we're going to talk about today is the new dining experience. When students come back for the 2021-2022 school year, what's the dining experience going to be like? Of course, we have a lot of suppliers on the line today, so we're going to talk about what can suppliers do to collaborate well with the college and university segment. And then, like I said, our panelists will also be sharing key council plans for 2021. But I wanted to really sort of, stop the PowerPoint now and really have a conversation with our three panelists. And Van, I'm going to start with you. Can you kind of kick us off and give us a sense of not only what's happening at Stony Brook, but what's it like overall for college and the college and university food service segment?
Hi, everybody. Yeah, so I could talk a little bit about what's, especially for the operators and what we've all been hearing, like the CNU flavor of the issues that we've all sort of faced. Stony Brook University in particular, we are about 65 miles west of New York City, so we had a lot of that sort of impact going on. And so many colleges, depending on the area they were, have sort of faced this stuff at different times, but we all seem to be facing it whenever we speak to each other. There were three main topics: sort of staffing, packaging, and capital, which sort of bubbled up as stuff to talk about. So what we did at our campus is we actually brought back about 5,000 students in person. We normally have about 10,000 residents and 24,000-ish on campus generally. So we were one of those schools that brought folks back, and we did the thing that everyone else in all of CNU did. We switched to a mostly to-go type format, very limited seating, focused on capacity and throughput, and figured out ways to basically, feed 5,000 people who would normally be sitting and enjoying an experience in a to-go manner. Probably not too different than the other sectors, just sort of, set up specifically for CNU. We also operate a hospital on this campus, so we had the exact opposite thing going on at the same time. I have 800 beds across the street. That was like the whole other part of the world, but that's for a different day. The staffing came up as a major issue within CNU that we all sort of talked about, right? Finding staff, We had massive layoffs, then we didn't. Bringing people back, and then bringing people back who had taken other jobs. And so finding people who could work during this sort of COVID specific period, and then returning folks as we get back to a post-COVID period, and then having staff who's sort of appropriate for this were a major issue that all of us ran into. Likewise, almost everybody in our segment moved to some version of to-go, right? Some folks did scheduled seating, but it's still a lot of to-go. Other folks did completely prepackaged, so here's your food. Other folks, as I did on my campus, it was interactive, but it was still to go. And so finding sustainable packaging, transforming menus that don't sort of soak through cardboard, finding the right way to sort of get food that is now, a half hour out from where it used to be, was also a major deal in the CNU segment, right? And that's going to continue. I don't think any of us, when you hear from us, are going to, sort of downplay that. To go is a thing far more than it ever had been. And it's really an area where manufacturers, I think, could sort of lean in and help us a lot. And the third was we also, we're capitalized differently, and our finance is certainly different, and we're a part of a larger enterprise. We lost a lot of capital. So the vast majority of dining programs self-fund, and the vast majority of us are sort of reserving funds for future stuff, and that's gone, right? So we're gonna take the CNU segment a long period of time to sort of readjust to this lost capital, just like it is other areas. I think we're certainly more fortunate to sort of have to be a part of something, and my heart really goes out to folks who don't have that backing. But at the end of the day, this is going to require a lot of hard work, because we're not going to be building new dining halls or really investing in new facilities or doing things for a few years like we used to until we could recapitalize ourselves, right? The fourth thing I just want to, before we sort of pass along, and this is something that I think we all share, and it's something I'm super proud of. I can't stop talking about it. We delivered as an industry, right? Food service showed up. There was that brief moment in the middle of March when everybody sort of was wondering what food insecurity was going to look like. And it was a pretty sobering moment. And then a few weeks after, you know what? We didn't run out of food. Food got delivered. Our manufacturers shifted like very dramatically, right? Food got backed up in restaurants, it got flipped over to food service. But within the CNU segment too, I wanted to share, we had a similar experience, right? When you sort of look around at the campuses and you look at like who showed up, CNU food service showed up. We got our campuses fed. We're prepared to sort of plow forward, and we're pretty excited, to be able to share some positivity out of this sort of horrible situation. I don't know if Ken or Jill, you might have something to add to that, maybe from your campuses. I know your censuses were different, for instance.
Yes, absolutely. So we just welcomed 1,000 students this past weekend to come and have a room and board program. So we had the opportunity in the fall to kind of learn from those folks that were open and kind of take the best practices and figure out what would work for our campus. And what won't work for our campus. From the very beginning, one of my concerns, and it still is a concern today, is staffing. And how do we protect our staff? And how do we keep our staff engaged during a time of a pandemic with all the safety measures in place? And you don't necessarily have that customer contact like we used to. We're behind plexiglass and we have masks on. But how do you continue to create that experience? So what I've been really, focusing in on, is as you have less staff, you have to create more efficiencies. And it's really about working smarter and not harder. And so we've kind of taken that practice as we move forward. And, across our segment, we've done some amazing things from the West Coast to the East Coast, from the North to the South. And, as you said, Van, we never stopped, and we won't stop. And we're here to feed the students on our campus, the faculty, the staff, and anybody that comes to visit us. And so we'll never stop. We will continue to plow through, each and every day to make the experience on our campuses an exceptional experience. So it's been challenging, but it's also rewarding at the same time. How about you, Ken?
Yeah, hi everyone. So nice to be here and opportunity to share some of the things happening at UMass And I think, yeah, I think when you're right, we lost lots of capital, right? And then something beyond our control, our school only wants so many students live on campus. At UMass, I think what we've done is, I think, I always think better days ahead. We have about 5,600 students back on campus. And then last year, we also, make it more interesting, we also opened a brand new dining center, during the pandemic, And then in the meantime, we only have 10–15% of our business. But the main point for us is trying for how we provide the student experience. They all looking forward to while maintaining health and safety, and we're using lots of grab and go, and we also have over dining. How we balance that, because we are so proud of at culture and CNU segment is, we are one-stop shopping. We want you to come and eat with us, but you also, by eating together, build community. Now with last year, it's a little difficult because you're 6 feet apart, wear masks, and also we try to teach our staff, actually our staff as well, how we greet the customers and how we communicate with them, and then using lots of sign and label. It's interesting, it's a fun years, and then I'm so happy that the fourth is over now. We're looking for a spring session, and we learned a lot, and then I think this future is bright for all of us.
It's always good to hear your positivity, Ken. I love it. Can I just ask a quick follow-up question on sort of like, what the food that you were serving this school year, with all the constraints you had, more to go, all the social distancing that had to happen, what were some of the compromises or sacrifices that you had to make on your menus? Are there certain foods you just couldn't serve anymore that had been real strong ones? And Jill, maybe I'll go to you first on that one.
Yeah, I think, as we move to, strictly takeout, California, there's no indoor seating, there's no outdoor seating right now. It's strictly takeout. So you really needed to figure out what was going to retain the quality of the product that you're putting in a to-go container. Once you put the lid on, it starts to steam a little bit. So we did a lot of R&D testing to see what would hold up and what wouldn't. And so, if you think about things that are very delicate, it's kind of hard to put in a to-go container and have the integrity of that quality continue to be at the highest level as somebody takes it outside to eat or takes it back to their room. So, things that have flaky crusts don't really work very well. And it was really about taking the best of what we do, and how can we put that in a container. Are you cooking it a little differently? Are you doing it a little more al dente? Are you adding a little more sauce because it's going to be absorbed in the pasta? So it was really about creating dishes that you could keep the integrity of the quality of the food as it to go. So there's not anything real specific, but it's just really about the cooking method and how did you change that or transform that to be able to have an output with a quality meal.
Mm-hmm. And Ken, you've always been, and I think almost all colleges and universities, big proponents of sustainability. With so much more to go, how did you continue to deliver on your promise to your students that they will be using sustainable products?
It's a great question. I think we spent lots of time research about container, right? Packaging is very important to us. Can the container be either recyclable? Can it be compostable? And then we decide on recyclable because more easy for meet the local guideline at the same time. The challenge part for us, as Jill mentioned about, is how can make it fun, and then how can make it appealing to our customer. And then what we have done is we still package one in front of you. And then for one that we package, we put a little sticker, made by a particular employee to that personal touch. And also we still do special event, that to do it more virtually and also make more simplified, because our students, they usually eat with us several times a day, and we find that last semester, for example, is they usually come 4.3 times normally per day. They come only twice. They want to take extra back with them, So by saying that, how can we provide the value? They come to see us a lot less before. And then the communications, and we, managers always check with them, how you doing, anything we can help you. Also, the container, we have this like a nice paper brown bag, make sure just as should I say whole food quality, so that provide the value they're looking forward to. And then in the meantime, that healthy, so some delicious is very important to them. So we provide dine in and also take our options. And then we also go more flexible. And then in the past, we said you can only take the food, you're going to eat, and then we let them take more food out because especially on the weekends. So as a manager, we need to, somehow, to address some of our strategy, and also to make it, so attractive to them. And some of the item we find that our students, they tend to eat more healthier now, and then they feel that, with more fruit and vegetable, more Mediterranean food, because they will enhance the some of the providing some of another insurance for the health as well. And then, so how we meet all this stuff at the same time, the experience, because at the end we talk about value, right? Because they want to have a complete package for us. That's what we try to do every day.
Yeah, and Van, I just want to follow up a little bit on your point you made about capital and the decrease in capital, which I'm guessing is directly related to less enrollment, less dining plans being taken advantage of. Do you see that as a 1-year recovery for that, 2 years, 3 years? How long is it going to get back to the point before Stony Brook and other universities can make those investments that you want to make?
Yeah, and obviously every school certainly handles their finances differently, but I think, and I don't think it's just in CNU, it's going to be a 3 to 5 year impact until the industry is fully capitalized. And there's going to be some shifts, right? There's going to be some real shifts that may sort of change the direction of what some of our brick and mortar sort of layouts go, right? Ghost kitchens, this kind of stuff. It's time's going to tell whether that lasts, but the CNU flavors of it lasted too. As Ken said, we have a lot of students coming to us now saying, I get all you care to eat, not comfortable with all you care to eat. I want to take 2 or 3 meals back because I have a lot more online classes. I'm not out and about like I used to be. That could be with us for a long period of time. So when we do decide to sort of start building things, the way that we build things, I think we want to hold off on that a little bit too. Likewise, the partnerships then is sort of leaning on our manufacturer partners to guide us what the entire industry is doing within CNU, because we have students that come in, they've experienced stuff since they start getting disposable income around age 12 or 13 through age 18. They've been spending money and doing stuff, and they're surfing and buying acai bowls. That doesn't end when they turn 18 in one day, right? But getting that guidance from the industry of sort of what's going on, so we can sort of start to rebuild our programs differently, will be smart. I did want to say though, in my particular case, I just went through the same budget stuff. It's at least 3 years till my reserves are healthy again, if they ever are healthy again. There are our parent companies, our schools took massive hits in finance. There were massive refunds written in housing and in dining. There were sort of very, very large decreases in folks who do commission-based dining, and that money is 3 to 5 is sort of my guess. I wanted to add something too real quick to what Ken had said, because in a lot of cases on a college campus, one of the food adjustments that we were able to make is we were the only place where anything was going on for periods of time. So the programming that we're able to do and often collaborate on might have been the only entertainment or sort of fun thing happening for a college student. They're mostly in the room. They're doing some classes, but they're sort of hustling back. They're doing a lot of hybrid or online classes. There's no social gatherings. There's no events. There's no sports. There's sort of no nothing. So what they experienced in our dining halls this semester was the academic programming, and it was a lot of the cultural programming. We had a massive positive response on Halloween. We had massive positive response in the different cultural months and stuff that we do on campus. And I thought that was sort of something that's interesting, and I wanted to put that out to the manufacturing community, because that link isn't going to go away. I'm not sure the large gatherings are coming back for a period of time, but everybody has to eat. It's a one spot where we're putting people in front of you.
Right.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Jill, we know we're going to get past this thing, right? And let's say, for positivity's sake, that the school year 2021, 2022 is, a great year for the college and university segment. Students flood back, all those kids that took a gap year come back. Dining halls are open again. People are vaccinated. What's it going to be like for those students coming back? What's the dining experience going to be like as we sort of look forward into that crystal ball?
Yeah, I mean, I do believe fall of 2021 we are going to be back. There's a lot of great strides moving forward with, vaccines and just learning a little more. So we just announced that in the UC system that we are going to go to in-person instruction as long as everything continues on the path for fall of 2021. So it is bright. But I also think that this is an opportunity for us to really reinvent ourselves, because we have been kind of, following the same path, the same rhythm over the years and continuing to add on and add, new initiatives and create this dining experience. But because we've kind of had this pause, is what I'll say, I think it's time to, to take maybe the blinders off a little further and look at what can we do? What worked really well? What are the best practices that maybe I have at UC Santa Barbara or that Van or Ken have on their campus, and bring that to our canvas, not our campus, but our canvas, because we're going to be painting a brand new picture. And I think that, whether it's through our residential dining program, retail facilities, catering, concessions, we're going to be able to do things a bit different than we have. And that's what's exciting, because we could take the best of the best and create the new, looking in that crystal ball, looking in the future, and what does that look like? For me, I'm looking at, like, we talk about revenue and just kind of what is fall 2021 going to look like. I mean, you hear about ghost kitchens. I mean, even Van talked about it earlier. But what about the invisible chef, which is basically a ghost kitchen? And, taking some of these underutilized, maybe it's a kitchen or a dining facility or something, and creating our own campus invisible chef or ghost kitchen, and really looking at other opportunities to enhance our program, whether it's feeding more faculty and staff, or just creating this different type of delivery service for our students, because they are our captured audience. And how do we create something new and something that they're used to? I mean, for 10 months, we've been eating out of a to-go container. And that's not going to change. But how can we do something a little different to bring some excitement and an experience? And so, I've been thinking about this invisible chef program that, what can we do just to kind of have a spin-off of what we do in a dining facility or a retail facility? And maybe there's demos going on of this invisible chef doing, some sort of meal kit that then we could be selling to our students in the apartments, and really just kind of taking what we've seen in the industry and in the restaurant business and bringing it to a college campus, because we had slowed down a tad. But you see the restaurants and others in our food service family that have been very successful with to-go meals, takeout meals, outdoor dining, ghost kitchens. I think our dining rooms will continue to shrink, but our participation is going to expand, because we will never, now that we've offered to-go is here to stay, whether we like it or not. It's going to be everywhere. But how are we going to do that in a way that with the sustainability hat on? Because we might have had a pass for the last 10 months as it relates to sustainability, but that's not going to happen anymore. There's going to be expectations from our institutions and from our community that we put that hat back on. And how do we go back to earth-friendly dining? And that's kind of what the focus is.
And what do you want to deliver to your students when they come back next school year? What's the promise that at UMass Amherst that maybe you weren't able to do this year that you'd love to do next year?
It's a great question. We have a campaign going on. We call it Dining with Total Confidence. And the whole idea is we send out about 10 video and on our website and our social media to ensure our students that food is good, but it's also safe as well. In the meantime, tell a story, about sustainability more than just buy local. So it's a social value. We're using fair trade, we're using the organic, we're using the food that tastes good for them. And also, it's look at the different business model. We got to be more leaner, because labor costs continue going up, and then look at business model. How can we be more efficient, more effective? At the meantime, for the students, so this second half, is interesting for us because lots of freshmen, they may skip the first semester. Now, the first time they join us again, plus welcome some of the peer students. So expectations are high. How can we balance that? In the meantime, tell a story about what we have done. That's why important is mentor about is, let's work with a manufacturer, tell a story about their food, how they support the environments, how we work together to fulfill our missions, In the meantime, we're one-stop shopping. It's convenience, You don't need to go anywhere. We have everything on campus. I call it keep them on campus, right? At the same time, but make sure that I think we can deliver what they're looking for. And plus, we need to look at lots of one thing we've done for the past several months, even though we could not see our students. We do lots of little videos. Our chef was prepared the food. We also share some of the favorite recipe, like the stir fries or General Chow chicken, maybe one of the popular one, and teach them, when they go to the grocery store, and then they can follow a recipe. And then at the end, we remind them that we will dine with them again. So continue that communication with them, And then, we lost also capital. How we wow them back on campus, for us, it's half a student on the meal plan that 25,000, the 12,000, they do not require to buy the meal plan, but they bought the meal plan for us. Now, how to get them back and spend money with us again? I think it's interesting and exciting. It's our team, led by Gary and Christopher. They did a good job to continue our marketing to tell the story. I think that storytelling is more than ever. Communications and also collaborations, And then I love to hear my peers, what they have done. How can I, we have no shame to copy others' best practice. I think, and also, share some of the things for manufacturing. They do lots of study as well, and then so we can all moving forward to welcome our Gen Z student back with open arms.
Charlie, if I could jump in, because I was sort of talking about this before. I think during the sort of, especially the really scary times of COVID, our campus is sort of, I think we all collectively, everyone I've talked to in this segment said, hey, our deal is like, look, you're going to get fed. Don't worry about it. Go worry about other stuff. We got you, right? The quantity was never an issue. The quality might be here's your turkey sandwich for a couple of days, but don't worry about dining. We've got it covered. And we found a way to really be a part of the COVID experience right on our campuses. I mean, up until 2 weeks before the start of last semester, I thought I had a full 10,000 folks coming back to campus. That dropped to 5,000. 2 days in, we had a new plan in place, right? But as we go forward now, and we start welcoming folks back as an industry next fall, that red carpet's laid out all over campus because our students don't see it differently, right? It's not like they go to school and then they eat. It's just this one experience. It's so important that the CNU dining segment be part of that welcome back experience, right, for all students. It's like, come on back. The roots of the tree of college and university in general were shook pretty hard by this. And it's really important that food service not be an issue. We've got to be part of the solution, but we're part of that welcome back. Let's get this thing going again. And don't forget, there's other issues. I mean, we've got COVID on the plate, but there's some other sort of things going on in the CNU world that are very scary. In 2 years, there's going to be a 30% decrease in enrollment inventory based on millennial baby patterns, right? That everybody was really worried about. So you're going to combine a 30% decrease in inventory with this massive shift in expectations. And so the whole thing's going to be swirling. It's so important that dining continue to be the rock that we have been, right? And I am so excited to just have this incredibly hospitable welcome back, man. Standing there with open arms, come on in, we got food, we got stuff, you're gonna love it. Programming, banging all the bells and just running forward. The other big thing I wanted to talk about that Jill really mentioned, the Band-Aid's off on pre-order and pickup. I think the jury's still out on delivery a little bit. A lot of our folks in different industries are like, yeah, it works, but it's still way too expensive. But pre-order and pickup is a done deal. It's gonna happen at CNU too. We have a massive amount of folks ordering their retail items on the app, going downstairs and picking it up just like you ordered a B&I account. And this is what they're all doing, whether it's curbside pickup or whatever they're doing before they come back. I would say that anyone in the CNU segment who doesn't have a large pre-order and pickup app-based program going into fall is making a huge mistake.
That's really easy. Go ahead, Jill.
People have been used to that for, months. And even, as a consumer like me, that's all I've been doing is to-go food from restaurants because that's what I have the capability of doing. And so if you think about this group of students that will be coming in fall of 2021, that's all they've been doing with their family or, takeout or to-go or online ordering. And that is going to be the movement forward and it's not going to go away. However, some of the sustainability practices we need to bring back when we're moving forward with that. I mean, packaging and efficient packaging that will help keep the integrity of the food, but it isn't going to go away. And it's really about the experience bringing people back in fall of 2021 is super exciting, just like you're sharing. I mean, just because we have to physically distance and we might have a mask on, that shouldn't change the experience that we want people to feel. We might look different because we're wearing a mask and everybody has gloves, but it's still, what do you feel in your core when you walk into a facility and how you're greeted and what does it look like? And, is there music? Is there video screens, whatever? And it's really creating that feel good experience as we walk into restaurants that we love. It all of a sudden hits you and you're like, yeah. So we just need to continue to build on that as we open our doors, and we will continue to do that. And so that's what's really exciting because, people are going to be starving for this, not starving for food because we never stopped, but they're going to be starving for that kind of extra experience. Like, I can't wait to go to a restaurant and sit in. I'm starving for that. I can't do that right now. But our students, they lost their last year of high school and they lost their first experience in college. So we're just an extension of, I always consider us as an extension of their family. I'm the next piece of the family puzzle. We're trusted, their parents are trusting us to take care of their son or daughter or whoever it may be. And that's a big responsibility, but we're ready for it. And we're going to continue to build that experience and that feeling when you walk in and you're just like at comfort and at ease. And I think all three of our programs do that, plus everybody else that's on the call that we've been working with. And that's what I want to continue to generate and build that momentum moving into fall of 2021.
Yeah, Charlie, I want to add something too. So we also start looking at new revenue stream, because of we depend so much on meal plan. We start looking at how can we call non-traditional revenue. One example we done during the Thanksgiving and also holiday Christmas, we started selling meal kit, and then we generate $100,000 to the parents and also to the faculty and staff. We have 6-7 faculty and staff there, and then our staffs are here, and give them something to do. I think the revenue generating is something very important to us. And then also some of us we provide meals for the K-12 school and also for some of the college nearby as well. So we're getting more efficient because and also take a look at technology. Wow, technology is in the past, besides just contactless dining, besides just online ordering, we take a look at robotics, can we look at some of them things can make us save some money, and then maybe it's require some initial capital. And at the end of the day, we still want to provide experience, but the convenience is the key, because, but on the other hand, we know that 2021 will be our biggest class ever. Are we ready for it? So I think this is exciting. The Gen Z, they are not afraid to tell us anything. Pricing is not a barrier, but they want fun, they want experience. They also love our food, love our service, but how we continue to get them part of our program. And also in our program too, is every year, 1/4 of our customer is new, and then definitely more diverse, and also we also have millennial, the grad students. We also have X and even baby boomer on campus. So this is a place to be, and then we have the catering, we have the concessions, we have load markets. So this is like a little city, right, Ben and Joe?
Yep.
So
Yeah,
Van,
it's like a resort. We have everything you need. You don't need to leave.
how do we keep our cities and our resorts going, Van, with less staff? It sounds like that's probably going to be a challenge that's not going to go away. What are your guys' plans in terms of being able to compensate for that?
Yeah, I mean, one thing I have in particular, and one thing about the CNU segment is where your campus is really can dictate how the dining program looks, and also how the campuses are laid out can really dictate the way that we're based. I have 10,000 folks on campus. I have 16,000 folks are commuters. The vast majority of them live at home or live sort of in the area. They're not living at a lot of more rural campuses. Your commuters might be living in off-campus housing, but they're sort of on campus. So in our case, we're competing with the open market directly. And a lot of urban schools sort of looking at similar situations, right? So I've got to try and convince those folks to stay on campus if I'm going to grow my business. I got to convince them that it's safe. I got to have all the bells and whistles that everybody else has been practicing all summer, right? So it's hard to compete with some of those folks. And I got to do it with we as a contract partner for a large part of our campus that's under really serious financial constraints, as is an organization, right? It's sort of two things we discovered as we rolled into COVID. The first was you've got to adapt very, very quickly. You can't just sort of set it and forget it and just do the same thing and come back. We made adjustments on a daily basis to our throughput capacity and flows. We made menu adjustments on a daily basis as we converted over to go. And we've made a lot of sort of sustainability adjustments and stuff, and we're sort of staying right on it. So the first is, if you're going to use your staff more efficiently, you have to review it almost constantly, right? The second, again, is this pre-order and pickup is a way to really use your staff smartly, because they can be sort of preparing culinary stuff. If you use the ghost kitchen methodology and you don't regiment them into you do this, you do this, you do this, but you have a sort of broader base of it, the delivery part becomes a lot easier, right? And that's an important thing. The third part is it sort of has to balance with this shift into go. And what's going to be interesting is how many of our students, when they're able to, are willing to sort of sit around and eat and do stuff. And if they're not, we have to flex that inventory of labor very quickly into the way. Or do they all just want to sit and eat? Nobody wants to do. We're going to have to just sort of flex it around. That's the deal. But the financial ramifications of this are not going away on September 1st. We spent all our money, all of us, right? We're now going to be dealing with a more expensive sort of weird world as we go forward. We're going to have to be very prudent and careful as we do that. And also, universities are not going to be adding, like bills are not going up, trust me. The expense of things is the major issue. So we're not raising prices either, right? So we're going to have to just watch it really carefully and be customer facing as we go.
So Ken, we've got a lot of suppliers on the line with us right now, and they want to hear what they can do to collaborate with colleges and university food service directors across the country. What message would you have for them as we go forward?
Oh yeah, that's I love to talk about this. This is work with us. I think we're here. So let's collaborate. Let's let's change some of the past practice. When I think about, we are three us, many of us, just like CEO of our programs. Talk to us, build relation with us, how we leverage our resources, your resources together. For example, we deal with the Gen Z. We know that we're going to bigger populations, to come. We see them every day. We know the dining behavior, and also so we have food science programs, faculty members or student science. Let's leverage partnership with your resource as well. Let's look at I call it more holistic approach, from the innovations to product testing, using us to gathering the dining behaviors, and then also look us to track them for the future dining need as well. We so much we work together because we see them every day, and then we also give you very much instant feedbacks, and then when you want to introduce some new products, in fact now we are working with a couple of the major manufacturers now to test some the new plant-based products. I think our program is very much and also we want innovation as well. But using us more than just in the past, give us some free products and then have some POS sign. We want more. We want to be involved from beginning and to the end. I think we talk about three of us. We want to use as a test site, and we'll give you the feedbacks. And also, we also start to look at some of the convenience items that in the past we may be not quite open to it. Now, if they can, we know late dining, so for us defined from 9 to 3 hours, and then we're less staff, and then we know your product is consistent, and then we may definitely we can use your consider products like a soup. In the past we made every soup from scratch, and labor may be called prohibit us to do that. We are welcome to you to help us, and also we will tell you what the Gen Z would like. Can you produce it? And also 70% of students some from allergies, and we have to be aware of that. We will tell you, some product you should be aware of, should be, and so much possibility that in the past we probably not look at, as Jill mentioned. We are look at a different business model to serve our student better.
Jill, what do you have to add?
Yeah, I think that, I mean, just like CNU, manufacturers have taken a big hit as well, financially, staffing and all of that. And how do we collaborate together to come up with an end product that's innovative, that, we could assist in, testing it out on a different level, kind of like what Ken mentioned, not just getting samples and doing a cutting of it, but we could be part of that process, part of that innovation before it gets to the end of the line and it's ready to go out to consumers. If there's a way for CNU to be, brought in a third of the way or half of the way through that innovation to make sure that it's on target for our audience, because, our audience is, anywhere from 18 to maybe 24, depending on how long they're here. And this is when people, become brand loyal, and their behaviors, what they've experienced with us, they will continue on throughout their food journey of their life. And so how do we come together and become those strategic partners with manufacturers? Because we're here to help. I mean, we're all on a campus because we love food and we love feeding people. Otherwise we'd have a different job. And so, and manufacturers, I know they love to produce food for us. And so how do we bring that all together? And it can't be everything across the board, but it could be certain, whether it's packaging or beverages or food or just any kind of innovation. And how do we become part of the piece of the puzzle to move forward? Because we're willing. And we do have, culinary expertise, and we have an audience that loves to give their opinion. And so how do we bridge that gap? Because I don't think it's happening as much as it could. And I know that that's something that, the CNU Council is working on as we move forward. But it's just something to continue to remember. I don't want to say we're living learning laboratories, because I don't want my guests to be, part of a laboratory, but we really are. I mean, we have an experience, a food experience that people are engaged in every single day, maybe three meals a day, and we could help when it comes to innovation and testing things out.
That's awesome. Thank you, Jill, and thank you, Ken, for that. So what I want to do now is I want to remind our audience that you can ask questions. We've already got a ton that have come through. I'm going to do my best to get through all of them. But if you want to send in your questions, this is the time to do it. What I also want to do now is give each of the panelists a chance to introduce one of the three main objectives that the council is going to be going through. And Ken, I'm going to go to you first because it kind of just leads into the conversation that we've just been having around collaboration between manufacturers and college and university.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I think one of our objectives definitely how we optimize. We talk a lot between just CNU and the manufacturer, how we collaborate, how we change from transactional more strategic partnership, and we call ourselves we're a living laboratory. How can we utilize both resources? As some of you know that OCM operator manufacturer collaborative model was developed about 10 years ago, and mostly for the commercial restaurant. And I think there's a lot of potential for us to apply to CNU, and we're open to it as well. And then, and also the more relationship we build, the better for us to better serve our customer. And then now, we have several meetings already, and then there's committee set up, and then we're going to work on these models. And then hopefully by springtime and get back to the in March, some of the results we've done so far. And I think it's so promising because there's so much we can do together to find a products and also build brand loyalty and also to grow our business together as well.
Thanks, Ken. Share group committee.
Yeah, I could speak a little bit about that. So, I mean, really, it's, the objective of our plan is to improve the ability to address challenges on an ongoing basis. And, I'll say these last 10 months have been challenges, but we've been able to address them. And this work has been, started back in 2018. And it's really about, how do we formalize and focus discussions and decisions that we need to make amongst our own committee, but with the industry as a whole, with manufacturers, and bring in subject matter experts, and bring the key issues and solutions forward to the industry on a regular basis, and a regular ongoing basis, so that we're not working in a silo, and that it's really about collaboration. It's about communication, and how do we move forward together as a whole.
Awesome, thanks. I think the third one is a product concept committee. Van, do you want to speak about that one?
Yeah, so we are looking, or the objective, right, is to improve the product concept development and execution. And I would say as a caveat, there's 2,649, give or take, four-year institutions and another 2,000 or so two-year and non-traditional institutions. And each one's individual. It's a very hard market to sort of break into. Complicating that, you have a large swath of buying groups that are sort of financially driven, and a large swath of contract arranged partnerships, right? So it looks like a really daunting task, but the idea is to come up with front and back of house A to Z programs, plug and play solutions similar to what our commercial partners do in other sectors to develop products and concepts straight so that they can be instituted in CNU, and it can be done. There's going to be a lot of work, and I always think of Jim's bow tie and like how we're going to sort of connect there, but this is it. And so that is the idea of this group. We're looking for sort of standardized solutions and ways of developing products between our industry and the manufacturing industry that could then be commercialized and run out on a larger scale with the appropriate scaling of resources.
Great, thank you for that. And just the reason we wanted to share that with the audience today is to understand what this council really does, and also to see as if you are a supplier to the industry, how you can connect and how we can use the IFMA bond between these operator councils and our membership to create real force of collaboration and drive some positive change. So thanks to Jill and Van and Ken for sharing that. And now we get to sort of open up the lines for questions. And I'm going to ask that our panelists, just one of you answer the question. We don't have time for comments from all three of you. That way we can get through more questions. But Jill, how much operator hands-on will there be going forward? For example, will there be any changes to baristas at coffee stations?
That's a tough question. I don't see any changes. I still think there's going to be a lot of hands-on. I think that we've created practices so that we are having a safe food service and experience and environment. So I think that that's going to continue. We're not going to look at reducing anything like that. We're going to look at how do we enhance what we've done and how do we do it in a way that is safe. It looks safe, and we know it is safe to give somebody that security that they can come back time and time again to purchase that drink from our barista or purchase that, composed salad from our location. So I think we're just going to continue to move on. It's not going to change very much.
Ken, will there be more demand for protein alternatives?
Yeah, I think the future is here now, and definitely in the future as well, because we start to test a couple already, and then it was widely received by everyone. And this more requires education and storytellings. And I think Gen Z, they love to try new things. Of course, deliciousness is very important to them as well. And lots of talk about the deliciousness and also about how they support the sustainability and also fun for them to eat because they want to be the first generation to try new things. I think besides just a burger, we gotta look at some item, whether there's fish, whether there is chickens. I think our groups are ready. I think we plan to put more plan forward, plant-based. This is the future of the food. That's what I believe.
Yeah, I agree completely, Ken. And a question for you, Van. And I'm guessing that most of Stony Brook is self-op. If it's not, let me know. But do you envision any changes to the contract management and/or GPO partnerships due to the financing and capitalization issues institutions are facing?
Yeah, so we our main student body campus is contracted out. We have a Compass partner, Culinary Group. We self-op an 800-bed hospital. We have about 300 employees in there. So I may not be the right person to answer that one.
Jill, do you want to take that one? I forget if UC Santa Barbara is using a GPO or not.
We are self-op and we are using a GPO.
And how do you see
we do use a GPO at our hospital, but it's been very flexible. So I don't envision renegotiating their business in the hospital is up to them.
Jill, any changes you think might happen with your partnership with your GPO?
That's kind of a tough question right now. I think that we're going to be looking at everything moving forward. Once we get to the new fiscal year, it's a loose partnership. It's not exclusive. And so, I'm going to go back to the drawing board and figure out what products work best for UC Santa Barbara and what will fit into the culture and the experience I'm going to try and create. But it's not going to be so exclusive as some GPOs, and so it's kind of a loose partnership, and it'll probably continue to be a loose partnership.
Ken, how do you see snacking change? Are you seeing a need for more healthy grab-and-go snacks?
I think we always call ourselves snacking a new way of eating, right? Because they eat several times a day. I think snacking will continue to be popular, and then of course, you need to offer some healthy option at the same time. But in the meantime, beef jerky is very popular as well. I think chocolate is always popular. I think The important point is making maybe small portions and tell the story of snackings and also snacking. There's so much innovation out there related to plant-based and less sugary. I think those are all opportunities for us to explore. I think students will try it. They love to try something fringe products, never seen before. And I think it's going to continue to grow. And we want a student to eat less, eat more often as well. So this is part of culture, just 4.3 times a day. I think it's not going away, but it's healthier too because our culture is healthy, sustainable, delicious.
All right, Van, you get the final question before I close things up here. Any thoughts about the use of food trucks? Do you think them expanding their presence? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, so it's actually a really good question because there was a period of time when it was really scary because it was a pinch point, right? And then we sort of developed, we have some food trucks here that we work with on campus. We put the cones up in the space and figured it out. I think food trucks in general have responded to COVID very quickly. And I think sort of when you look at the trends that we had talked about, this need to sort of be precise, to deliver, to bring the food where you're at, to find these sort of better mechanisms. I don't think food trucks are going away in CNU. I think if anything, they're going to blend a little into being more of an idea of a mobile food service concept, not specifically a truck in and of itself, but I think they're actually part of the solution that we were talking about.
Great. Well, I can't thank the three of you enough on behalf of the entire membership for IFMA. Thanks for taking the time today. And the great thing about this is that this conversation is only one of 5 that are happening this week. Yesterday, we talked to the K-12 Food Service Council, and that recording is available for download at ifmaworld.com/resources. Tomorrow, we're talking to 3 members of the B&I Food Service Council. On Thursday, we're talking to 3 members of our Healthcare Council. On Friday, we have our small and medium-sized chains. Each of these councils has different challenges and opportunities that they're going to be experiencing as we go forward. So make sure you tune in. Every single one of the conversations is happening at 11 o'clock Central, 12 Eastern. If you can't make them, we are going to record all of them. Also next week, Ken Toong is a proud recipient of the IFMA Silver Plate. If you want to create a bond with an operator in whatever segment it is that you're looking at, nominate them for an IFMA Silver Plate. And to learn how to really create a winning nomination, join our webinar next week on January 26th. Also, in about a week, we're going to open registration for our first big conference of the year, COEX, April 12th and to the 14th. So put those days on your calendar. It is going to be a virtual conference this year. And finally, on February 23rd and 24th, we have our virtual food service fundamentals class. If you are new to the industry or somebody on your team is new to the industry and they really need to understand how food service works from A to Z, please sign them up for this class at ifmaworld.com/events. Finally, I wanted to thank Hershey Food Service and Nestle Professional for their support of today's webinar. And thanks to Jim Green, Jill Horst, Ken Toong, and Van Sullivan. You guys have been awesome. Everybody else, have a great rest